CBS 2 Chief Correspondent Jay Levine joins us now live from Lake Charles, Louisiana. And Jay, we understand you also got a tour of the damage there today.
We did, Sylvia, and there is more evidence here tonight that the lessons of Hurricane Katrina were learned quickly and well, albeit tragic lessons. Earlier today, we flew over areas hit hard by Hurricane Rita, and while the damage is substantial, casualties were few, and help, people, including those from Chicago, are already streaming in to help. The orange and white chopper had flown 1,000 miles from Midwest Helicopters based in Chicago to help. Today, ferrying in a medical unit to join the relief effort.
We just flew back in from Yazoo City, where we spent last 2 nights getting out of the way of Rita, and we just made it back to Baton Rouge, and we weren't there 20 minutes before we had this flight to bring these people over here.
They were on the ground just a few minutes before it was on to the next mission.
It's a good feeling, and yeah, we're away from home, we're all away from our families and stuff, and it's been that way for a while, but yeah, it feels good to contribute.
They were on their way even before the damage to these communities was apparent, and so were other Chicagoans.
Right now we have probably between 200 and 300 volunteers from the Chicago area alone coming down here.
And this is what they'll find. This was the backstretch at Delta Downs Racetrack. Fortunately, the horses were evacuated from their stables before the storm, and so were most of the people who live along the largely rural path Hurricane Rita took. We traced that path today by helicopter and saw mile after mile of homes partially underwater, partially destroyed. A whole area cut off from the mainland of southwestern Louisiana. The good news, nearly everyone who lived here had fled to higher ground. Only here, at the exact spot where Rita made landfall, did we see total destruction. The tiny town and parish, both named Cameron, lost everything. This was typical of the devastation we saw in the wake of Hurricane Katrina, near New Orleans and along the Mississippi coast. But it was much more widespread and much deadlier there, and there's a reason for that.
When we called for our mandatory evacuations, we had already closed schools, businesses closed immediately, people went home, got their stuff, and left town. And that's exactly what we've been telling them to do for years, and they did it.
General Doug Pritt's Oregon National Guard unit came here right from New Orleans.
We were doing search and rescue operations for over 2 weeks, and we found one gentleman in his attic after 17 days. So this is a totally different situation. It looks like very little, if any, loss of life, and yesterday only 98 people were evacuated, and not all of those were even emergency situations.
General Pritt was right. No one died here, and incredibly, officially, no one was even seriously hurt. Though recovery, if it all, will come not very quickly, if at all, in some areas. But there are some signs of progress tonight. Take a look out over there, across the lake, to a community called Westlake. There are lights, something most of us take for granted. But in this part of the country tonight, they are very, very welcome sights indeed. Sylvia, back to you.
All right, thank you, Jay, live in Lake Charles, Louisiana.